That's wonderful. You mentioned I, which is wonderful. We read her alongside you too. And
Oh, wow.
so I'm curious about just other, I don't ask the favorite poets question because that's like just wrong. But what are some pivotal or foundational
Oh,
writers? And I think I'm interested in at specific moments because I think that's the other way to think about it too. Like
yeah.
you said, when I started writing, I
Yeah,
was critical.
yeah.
So,
So, I mean, I can think of certain poets and certain moments. I remember the first time I remember I had Cornelius Eady's Victims of the Latest Dance Craze. And I was walking around with that book for weeks and just was in love with the poems in the book and the whole arc of the collection, what it was doing. And then I heard he was coming to town to read. And this was at a time in which I just dropped out of a MFA program, and I thought, you know, I might still write poems as a hobby at some point, but I'm going to continue being a journalist, and this is going to be my thing. And I saw him read at the Folger Shakespeare Theater, and when I saw that reading, he did the poem. He read Gratitude. It's like this sprawling Ars
yes,
Poetica,
yes,
beautiful
it's
poem,
beautiful
right?
poem.
And there were these moments in that poem that were exact moments from my own life. And I welled up in tears, like listening to him. And it was like the first time I had that kind of experience at a poetry reading. So that was an important moment. And his poetry, he's another person I just like try to imitate as much as I could. Say whatever because I still just love Cornelius's the turn in his poems. I mean, his poetry is so at once it's intellectual and at the same time emotional, and it kind of sneaks up on you because the language can be so unvarnished and yet so philosophical at the same time, and it's impossible to imitate. But it's a good ambition I think to
Yeah,
have, and
yeah.
I still love his poetry. Thomas and Beulah, Rita Dell's book was pivotal for me. Having a book like that also told this story, a story that was in my hometown. It felt like, Thomas and Beulah is such a beautiful book.
It is.
I thought I'd never be able to write a book and write a book about that same location. And that book was a real kind of North Star for when I was writing Magnolia. You know, I can still remember specific readings, and I remember being at the Folger and seeing Patricia Smith read Skinhead, and I was just electrified after that reading, and I was just thinking, I have got to like get a handle on the persona. Once again, it was just like the power of that reading really blew me away, and I've been a big fan of her work ever since. And of course, like the poet I probably go to the most still is the poet who's who my professorship's named after, Robert Hayden. Hayden's work, the elegance of that work, is something that I still aspire to. It's just so formally sound and also agile on a language level.
Right.
That just it's just a great ambition to have.